Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I stood outside this morning at 4 a.m. and looked at the stars and felt the chill of the approaching day. And thank God for his wonderful world. You know it is. We are blessed. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America. Followed by a patriot to start the week off right with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours on this already September 28th. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a very safe, clean environment, and, of course, the best in tires. And also thanking Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, my friend. Thank you very much. And right now we're going to skedaddle right to the weather, and it's brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Oh, my goodness, they've got all the equipment. Have you driven by and seen their front yard? My goodness sakes, they've got all kinds of things for you, all the equipment, all the tools to finish any kind of a project. And believe me, if you've got questions about what you need, Roger and the crew can help you. 678-3122. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Smoke is clearing out. There is some harvest dust in the air and mild temperatures for this week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies for today with a little bit of a breeze. We are expecting a high of 68. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 38. Tomorrow, looks like sunny skies, high of 77. A light breeze out of the east. Tuesday night, clear skies with a low of 43. Sunny and 78 for Wednesday. Pretty much the same for Thursday and Friday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by K&R Rental. They get there early in the morning to serve you at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. And they've got all the tools and equipment for both long and short-term rental. Hey, you don't have to pay for more than what you need, I'll tell you that. And you be sure and call them at 678-3122. K&R Rental. Caller, I'll be right there. I appreciate your call to start things off, but I've got to get this word on first. I want to remind everybody about Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. I've got to get in there sometime this week. Holy moly. Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue with Kevin, Cindy, the whole crew, and take care of your clothes. You spent so much money on them. Let dry cleaning elongate their life. And boy, these folks really know what they're doing. And oh, by the way, if you don't have time to wash your clothes, take them in there. Daryl's Cleaners will wash, dry, fold, just like Mama used to. Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. One other real quick note, and I know they're there this morning. already early, and that's, of course, Ramsey Heating and Electric for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Now, I wasn't kidding about standing outside this morning at 4 o'clock after I got done feeding the horses and everything. I just stood there, and it was chilly outside. So it's time to think about your furnace and all your furnace filters, everything for the fall and winter. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They've been in business for almost 7 decades, serving you 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Well, good morning to you, Zeb, and your first lady.
Hi, my friend. How you doing, Keith?
I'm doing good. You know, we talk about this debate that's coming up, and all of the Democrats are in line to say something nasty to her or try to defuse her.
What are you talking about? Wait a minute, Keith. You're talking about the debate, or are you talking about the Supreme Court justice? What are you talking about? You got kind of a split decision there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the Supreme Court justice.
Okay.
And the one person I'm talking about particularly is Bug-Eyed Cory Booker. And now he's going to ask this candidate if she will recuse herself from the Affordable Care Act and from her religion.
Yeah.
Now, that is about the dumbest thing that anybody's come up with yet.
Well, it's not only dumb, Keith, it's sleazy and it's slime of the Democratic left. They are going to be grabbing at any straw that happens to blow by them in the wind, and they're going to do all they can to defame and destroy this lady. I hope, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I hope and pray that Lindsey Graham and the Republicans will start to show a backbone and some courage as the supreme reigning power right now, if you will, and not back off. They've got to be tough for this lady. I would not put her through this, but she's running for the Supreme Court justice. God bless her. I think she's highly qualified. But let me just throw something at you real quick when you start talking about religion. Don't forget that back in the 60s, everybody was quick to condemn John F. Kennedy for his Catholicism, and the Democrats never said a word then, so let's be real careful about what they shoot their mouth off right now.
But, you know, it was sad, and I don't know this for a fact, but they said if she is put on the court, there will be 6 Catholics and 3 other denominations. Well, it's worked so far in the past that leave religion out of it.
Absolutely.
Why can't we continue to do this?
Absolutely. I'm not even going to get into religion on my program. I don't believe that your religious beliefs have anything to do with, number one, public knowledge or scrutiny, and number two, I certainly don't think that if she's gone this far to be a 7th District Court judicial judge and now appointed to the Supreme Court, evidently she's been pretty doggone fair.
You know, and this word recuse, I don't know whether we all know what it means, but the Attorney General that Trump picked first recused himself of the hearings against Trump.
Well, basically, what the word...
Broad statement, and I don't know what all it covers.
Yeah. Well, when you recuse yourself, basically you're saying, for all intents and purposes, because of past knowledge or past involvement, etc., I'm going to recuse myself, take myself away from this case in an effort to be fair. Sometimes I think that's used as an excuse. But I think in this case, Cory Booker, I mean, come on. You're not going to give that guy any credence, are you? Please tell me no.
Well, he needs to get some magnifying glasses on so that we can see how bug-eyed he is.
Well, I'm not going to get into that aspect of what his...
In because he is making fun of us
Yeah.
in a way that you should never do.
Yeah.
So why can't we make fun of him?
Well, I think what's fair is fair, but I'm just saying that the left in general, not just Cory Booker by himself, but you saw how bad they were during the Kavanaugh hearings, and Kamala Harris was one of the worst. Booker was right there with her. I am very, very afraid, like I said, the sleaze and the slime of the Democratic left is going to start. There's going to be a lot said by Pelosi and Schumer and others to defame this lady. And what my biggest concern is, Keith, that they're going to carry it too far and go into and above board, below board with the family. I'm really concerned about that.
You know, and this lady is an example of the American people.
Yeah.
Just like Father knows best. You know, it's kind of that kind of a deal. We can't find any fleas on her.
Well, they're going to dig,
They're
and
going to try to plant some.
well, not only plant it, but make it up, just like they did with Kavanaugh. Keith, I got to run, but I do appreciate you kicking the thing off this morning. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, check your blood pressure.
All right, buddy. Thank you much. Hey, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends Dino at Dino's Septic Service. Oh, they cover a wide, big area, absolutely serving you with all the septic tank pumping and the backhoe services and the sewer and sink drain lines cleaned and the septic inspections. Holy moly, they've got the latest of equipment, and these people know. They know how to serve you. Fast, fair, friendly service. Dino's Septic Service. Call them at 436-6526 or 678-1638, and in Twin Falls 735-8281. With a big truck that says smells cargo on the way, Dino's Septic Service, absolutely the best. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What about the debate tomorrow evening? I think it's going to start at our time, 7 o'clock. I believe that's the time for the Mountain Time Zone. And it's going to be on Fox News, and moderator will be Chris Wallace. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Chris Wallace is such a left-wing leaner and a Democrat and everything. All that may be true, and it is probably true. But I think, and I said this the other day, and somebody arbitrated with me after I got off the air, no, I'm going to stand my ground. I think it's going to be, if there is more than one debate, I think this one will be the most fair. I think that not only Chris Wallace is going to ask some very pointed and poignant questions, I think he's going to stay on topic. And I don't think he'll let the debate get out of hand. But that leads us to the next point. Do you, the audience, think that there will be a debate tomorrow night? I'm not kidding. I've talked to some people over the last couple of days that are in the know politically, and some of them, and I'm not going to bring names into this right now, but some of them have said there's going to be a last minute, oops, Joe can't do it. Oh, Joe's sick. Oh, something happened. Oh, we decided not to. Pelosi's going to get involved. She doesn't want him to do it. Nancy Pelosi has come right out and said, no, I don't want Joe Biden to do the debates. We, the American people, should be absolutely livid and stomp our feet and everything else if there's a no-show. All of us deserve to see and hear the good, the bad, and the ugly as to what's coming out between the two, the incumbent, President Trump, and the challenger, Joe Biden. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. I've had a lot of people last week say, I don't know if he's going to show up. And then others say, no, it's a rock-solid deal. Everything's going to be cool. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There was a big march thousands and thousands of people packed the National Mall in Washington on Saturday to pray and show their support, not only for this administration, President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence, but to pray for this country, to pray for this land, to pray for a healing, and to pray for better times in the future. And I want to say to all those people, even though many of them are probably not listening, I'm going to say it anyway. God bless you for your actions. Thousands of people at the National Mall praying for the betterment of America this past Saturday. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Every time I pick up this card and it says Denny's Restaurant, oh boy, do I know that you're going to get the best in goodies right there at Denny's Restaurant. What a great place to go eat, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It doesn't make any difference. All of it absolutely phenomenal. And it's hard to make a choice of all the delicious menu choices. Let me tell you something. They've got a menu that is just absolutely amazing. And the people there are so courteous and so nice to help you at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Don't forget America's Diner. Thomas and the crew all serving you at Denny's Restaurant. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I don't mean to dominate your program, but I do have an opinion. Yes, there will be a debate. There has to be in behalf of Joe Biden, because this is his only salvation. All these people have prepped him for this situation, and if he doesn't shine, well, it's goodbye, Joe. But if he does show well and everything like that, he may have a chance. He will show up.
I hope he does, and I hope it's a good debate with both candidates, but I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I'll give you just my own little opinion. I think that President Trump is practicing with people like Chris Christie and others, and I honestly think that he is going to be a barbed wire to Joe Biden, and Biden has a tendency and a penchant for letting certain questions and certain topics get under his skin, and I honestly think that within the first 30 minutes of that debate, of a 90-minute debate, Biden's going to lose his cool. That's my prediction.
Your prediction is right on, and you watch. It will be something that just digs into him, and he will lose control.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
He's just going to be dumbfounded.
Yeah.
And that's when he's going to have to use his earpiece.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know what kind of technology or mechanisms they're going to apply or use for Joe to try to stay coherent and try to answer all the questions. That's not for me to ascertain. I'm sure they've got something planned that they're going to somehow pipe him some information. But I just don't think that it's going to be a debate that's going to be good for Biden or the Democrats.
Well, I don't either. But if there is a salvation, it will be for Joe Biden, because this is the only chance he has.
Yeah.
If he blows this, it's over.
Oh, I agree. Keith, thanks for calling back. Appreciate your opinion. What are some of your other thoughts out there? Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, the left they get away with so much sleaze and slime, like I said a minute ago. Caller, stand by quickly. I'm just going to take about 15 seconds here. A guy by the name of Ibram X. Kendi, an American author who became the new director of the Center for Anti-Racist Research at Boston University, railed against Amy Barrett saying, well, she adopted 2 black children from Haiti, which equates her and her husband to be white colonizers. What a disgusting thing to say. The guy ought to be smacked right in the nose. It just makes me sick. Everything is some white colonizers adopted black children. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Caller, calm me down. Good morning, you're on the air.
Well, I'll calm you down by riling Biden up. If Trump gets him riled up, you know what the Democrats are going to do? How dare he upset him? Oh, poor Biden. He shouldn't,
You may be right on this, because I think standing in the sidelines and in the wings and ready to be interviewed by anybody that'll stick a microphone in their face after it's over, I believe that's going to be one of the approaches they're going to take. Oh, he was mean to Joe. He was mean-spirited. I think that's one of the things that will happen.
I'm sure it is.
Do you think he's going to show up, lady?
Well, physically or mentally.
Okay. You got me on that one. Good call. All right. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you. That is a very astute statement. Is he going to show up in both realms, physically and or mentally? And what's going to happen when they start talking about the riots? Not protesters, riots. These sleaze and the slime out there burning and shooting and beating and, in many cases, very unfortunately, killing people. What's Biden going to do? What's he going to do to dispute the fact that when Trump took over, the economy was skyrocketing? And then, of course, with the insertion of the COVID-19, it's funny how that happened. The economy tanked because of the closures that everybody, we got to close down, we can't do this. And now it's coming back again, and it looks like it's going to be in a V-shaped curve going right back up. What's Biden going to say? Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Your thoughts are always appreciated. I got the greatest audience in the world. I also want to take just a moment here. We're going to give away some cookies. I'm going to give away some cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. My, what a bakery. Oh, my, what a great restaurant. And believe me, they sent some chocolate chip cookies over for Deanne. I took one myself. I had to. Anyway, they're so good. If you win the cookies, be sure and let them know when you're going to be coming in to get them. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Here's the question, and I want you to listen carefully. I'm sure you probably, us older people, probably know this one. The Roy Rogers Show started in what year? What year was the beginning of the Roy Rogers Show? Quickly call me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What year did the Roy Rogers Western TV series start? Quickly, give me a call, and you'll be the cookie winner. So give us a jingle quickly. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. With Dale and Pat Buttram and Bullet and Trigger and Nellie Bell. What year did that show start? Everybody's running to their computers real quick to see if they can't win a dozen cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Come on, quickly give me a call. That's really kind of piece things together in your mind. I know you're going to come up with the right answer. The Roy Rogers Show started in what year? Okay? For those of us that are a little bit more than gray and long in the tooth, we can remember that, so give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
This is a wild guess, but 1954?
Nope. Earl, doggone. Sorry you didn't win the cookies, old buddy.
Well, I
I was reeling back in history, so thanks, Jeff.
All right, Earl, take care of yourself. No, that's not the right answer. Looking forward to another caller to win those cookies. Come on, it's not that hard, really. Think about it. Let's see what this caller's got to say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Is it 1948?
No, but nice swing at the ball, but it went right into the catcher's mitt. Thank you very much for the try. Appreciate it. Nope. 1954 and 1948 are not correct. And quickly, somebody give me a call. The Roy Rogers Show. What year did it start? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Thank you, 1946.
No. So we've had 46, 48, and 54, and that's not right. Thank you for your try. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Evidently, we've still got the cookies, and now they're really rolling in. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller, quickly. Sean, is there anybody on that line, or is that a dead line right there?
No, we're having issues with this phone, evidently.
Oh, okay. Well, we seem to always have issues with the phone. Caller, good morning. In just a minute, we'll see what the next caller's got to say. We need to get some more duct tape, it sounds like. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
1951?
Who is this?
Kelly Fisher.
Say that slower, would you please, Kelly? What's the last name? Fisher. You are the winner. It was 1951. Call over to our friends at Sophie's and tell them when you'll be in to get your cookies, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, sir. Yes, that's right. 1951, the show started, and it went on for about 6 years, and it was a wholesome, good, family-oriented Western. Kelly Fisher wins the cookies this morning, 1951. There you go. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends at Barry Equipment and Rental. Sales, service, and parts, and they've got 3 locations serving you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. And boy, I'll tell you what. When it comes to lifting and digging and pushing and carrying and all the tough jobs, leveling, grading, they've got the equipment. They got all the bobcats, all the shapes and sizes. They've got all the trenchers. They've got all the scissor lifts. They've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. Oh, my. And if you're not sure how to run them, hey, they'll teach you. Great financing programs and lease programs available at Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You know, did you ever stop and think, and I'll take this call first. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning. The lunch at the Burley Senior Center today will be a delicious chef salad and all of the trimmings.
Well, now that sounds pretty doggone good, Joe. What kind of dressing do you put on your chef salad? Okay, well, I'm a ranch dresser myself.
Oh, that'll be fine too.
Okay. I tell you what, and if anybody wants to take a salad back to their office, all they have to do is call, and it's only $5, right?
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, Joe. God bless you, man. Thanks so much. And that's the Senior Center on Overland in Burley. Don't forget that. Joe Taylor, what an amazing man, and I really appreciate and respect him. Thank you very much. Did you ever think about, yesterday I kind of spun the dial a little bit on television and would not watch any of the games in entirety, whether it was the NBA or whether it was the NFL or whatever, because I'm down on them. I'm really down on them. But would you think about where would these players be? You know, it's so easy for them to use their sports as a mouthpiece, but where would these players be? Where would LeBron James be without American basketball in the NBA? Where would the Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott be? Well, he's had trouble with the law. He's had trouble with drugs. He's had trouble with spousal abuse. Where would he be? Where would any of the black athletes, and let's be fair, many, many white athletes be, if it weren't for sports in the United States of America making them multi-millionaires and giving them money, power, and a voice? Where would they be? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Well, obviously, they do not have any comprehension of what made America great. I mean, the freedom that we have is unsurpassed in the world. More people have prospered under this constitutional republic, free enterprise system, and yet they just seem to think that it's fashionable to tear down the system. And same way with Hollywood, Zed.
Yeah.
I mean, we support their movies, supposedly, without people going to the ball games and going to the movies. These people that are they're supporting Black Lives Matter now, and LeBron James certainly is, and they have no comprehension of what communism is. They're certainly not going to hear it on the media, mass media, Zeb. So it's just really sad that our educational system has failed our students. By and large, I think that's really
well. Let me get in here with you a little bit on this. Number one, our educational system has failed our kids, and they're not teaching pride in this, the greatest of all countries, the United States of America. Anybody that wants to duke that out with me, go ahead, because it is the greatest country ever in the world. But when you start talking about Hollywood and the likes of like the Matt Damons or the Sean Penns or anybody like that consistently denigrate the United States of America, or LeBron James or Colin Kaepernick or whomever in the sports world, these people absolutely are reaching out, slapping and butting the hand that has fed them and put them in a spot of notoriety. And I'm absolutely fed up with these people not being smart enough to figure that out.
Well, I think the ratings on the pro football have been way down, and Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, made a comment that maybe we made a mistake here by letting the players disrespect the national anthem and take a knee or don't even come out of the locker room.
Absolutely.
In fact, I'm not sure they're even playing the national anthem, are they? Yeah.
Well, and this is the thing that bothers me so much. And something, you just hit the subject I was going to talk about, Adrian. Last night on Sunday Night Football, I specifically tuned in for the opening of that game between Green Bay and the New Orleans Saints. I wanted to see how they would handle the national anthem and or leading up to the national anthem, and all they did was cover everything with monetary breaks to make more money from their advertisers and completely covered up the national anthem.
Yeah, I did the same thing, to just find out if they were going to play the national anthem. And as far as I didn't hear it. Did you hear it?
No,
it wasn't played. I'm wondering if they even played it, but like I said, they just went to advertising, and then I turned it off. I didn't watch the rest of the game. I'm just not supporting it. You and I are both Packer fans, and I guess they won, but I didn't watch any of the game.
Well, let me just say this, Adrian. The bad image that has been created by the professional athletes. And I use that term professional athlete really loosely because there's more to being a professional athlete than just playing the game. It's an involvement in the community. It's an involvement with people. It's an involvement with your team. And when I look at the likes of LeBron James with his racist attitude, anti-white, Black Lives Matter, and all this, and then all these other athletes that are following along, kneeling or staying in the locker room during the national anthem. And now they've got a lot of the college and the high school kids doing it.
Well, absolutely, yeah. It's, follow the leader. You see the national corporations. Costco is taking some cheese off the shelves because the Costco's come out for Black Lives Matter. And some cheese owner came out against and exposed Black Lives Matter for being a socialist Marxist outfit and wanting to destroy the country. And so Costco's going right along and with that, and my membership is coming due, and I'm not going to renew it.
Well, I appreciate your candor on this. I had that story about that cheese situation this last week. Adrian, I got to run. I got other calls stacked up. Appreciate your comments. You're spot on this morning. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. How many people have heard of the word IQ? I followed the NBA for years, and these people coming into the NBA right out of high school are not quite dry behind the ears yet.
Well, that's the case in point. That's the case in point with LeBron James. LeBron James absolutely is a specimen of being the best or one of the top 3 basketball players ever to play the game here in the United States of America. And he's been rewarded with monetary means and a voice and power. And I personally think the man has abused it. I think he's turned it into a racial overtone on almost everything. I detest LeBron James. I can't stand the man.
I think he's become robotic. In other words, he believes that some of these people that are supposed to be smart are telling him the truth.
Yeah, well,
there he is.
Yeah, I want to see what LeBron James does with all of his multi-millions and, quite frankly, probably billions because of all of his ad work and all of his promotional efforts and everything, using his name, etc., after he's done playing basketball. There's always an ending to everything, and most of these players are going to realize that ending probably in their latter to late 30s, mid to latter 30s, and we'll see what happens. Keith, God bless you for your call. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to give you one example of the NBA and the people in it. The Shaq, they called him.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal. That guy didn't have anything but a high school education, but he went on and studied.
No, that's not true. Keith, that's not true. He went to college at Louisiana State University after high school, so that part, you're wrong on that.
Yeah, but when he signed up for the NBA, had he went to college?
Yes, he had played college ball, yes, for Louisiana State University, and so don't say that he came right out of high school, because he did not.
He's a good man.
Well, he is. I appreciate that. Thanks, Keith. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Caller, I'll take your call before I do the weather real fast.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. How would they like to be paid the same wages that the athletes in communist China and Russia are being paid?
Yeah. I mean, hey, let's call it like it is. Go over and play in the European League for basketball, and your pay is going to be way less. And the last I checked, there wasn't an NFL in Yugoslavia. And the last time I checked, there wasn't Major League Baseball in Poland. I mean, these guys are absolutely idiots for thinking that they can speak out against their country and take the checks and not have some kind of social balancing. They've got to appreciate what America's done for them.
That's right. These guys are spoiled, and it's going to come to an end, really.
I think you're right.
I see it.
I think you're right. Tony, how's Mary doing? Are you doing okay?
Oh, Mary is hanging in there.
Well,
I'm doing okay.
You go over and give her a great big kiss and wish her well from Deanne and I, okay?
I sure will.
All right.
Deanne's okay. One of these days I'm going to drop in and nice.
I appreciate that. That would be a welcome surprise. Thank you, Tony. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Okay,
Thank you. Hey, by the way, I want to get this in. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, they are going to have an open house, and they're absolutely inviting you. October 7th, and that's going to be from 2:30 to 5:30 for the grand opening festivities. They're going to give tours of the new office, and they're going to have food. Listen to this. They're going to have cinnamon rolls and hot cocoa. Oh, yeah, I'll be there. A grand welcome for all the staff and fun prize raffles and everything. All of this by the people that really know hearing health and can help you with yours. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call, 312-0957. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Smoke is clearing out. There is some harvest dust in the air and mild temperatures for this week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies for today with a little bit of a breeze. We are expecting a high of 68 tonight, clear skies with a low of 38 tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies, high of 77, a light breeze out of the east. Tuesday night, clear skies with a low of 43. Sunny and 78 for Wednesday, pretty much the same for Thursday and Friday. That's a look at your weather for Zebeth Rand.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Gina. And don't forget the grand opening of their new location on the Minidoka Hospital campus is going to be October 7th, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And I've already told you the number to call if you need more information. It's 312-0957. There you go. You know, you have to blame a lot of the problems with these prima donna athletes that are overpaid and underworked and really don't know come here from Sikkim when it comes to being appreciative for what they've got in this, the greatest country of them all, the United States of America. You've got to point the finger at the media. The media is as complicit as anyone is because they're coddling and coping and enabling these people to act in such a dumb manner. And, they should demand that they're going to show the national anthem. We should be demanding that they show the national anthem. You know, I don't think in all the years that I announced rodeos all across the United States, I don't think I ever saw, except for one time, and I think it was because there were a bunch of teenage punks that didn't know any better at the time, but believe me, they were straightened out in short order. Anybody showing a complete disrespect for the flag and our national anthem. I mean, I'm proud of the cowboy world. I'm proud of the rodeo world. I'm proud of standing up, taking their hat off, and observing the prayer led then by the national anthem. But to not show it, covered up with commercials, and basically treat it like, oh, well, it's not important, and then sticking a microphone in somebody's face like LeBron James or Colin Kaepernick or whatever, the media is as complicit in not having the anthem or showing respect for the anthem as the players. And about the NFL, you know, I'm done. I'm toast. I never thought I'd say that because I love football. But Roger Goodell, the National Football League commissioner, really about the only job that I find him suitable to be qualified for are possibly nothing more than cleaning horse stalls. This man is gutless. This man doesn't stand up. This man doesn't have the conviction. This man doesn't realize himself that he wouldn't be having these multi-million-dollar contracts for he and others heading up the NFL if it weren't for being here in the United States of America. These people are not real smart. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you this. You talk about not very smart. Listen, I don't know where these people had parked their brains and locked them up in some security vault someplace But now the Minneapolis City Council regrets the pledge that they had given to the public to defund and disband the police. You got to shake your head and almost feel sympathy for these people being so stupid that the Minneapolis City Council, it wasn't that many weeks ago, they were out damning the police, and we've got to defund the police. We've got to learn to live without the police. And then all of a sudden, the crime rate started going up. And the shootings started going up, and the muggings started going up, and the rapes and all the other crimes in the city were skyrocketing, and some smart soul on the Minneapolis City Council said, well, maybe we better get the police back in order. Gee. And these people were voted in to lead the city. Where are they leading the city? That's a good question. Into total chaos. But now they regret the pledge to defund and disband the police. Duh. Oh, my. And then, one other note that I want to make here this morning. The so-called activists, and if you'll follow some of the news behind the news, you can read about some of these people. Some of the activists that are leading certain groups, whether it's Antifa, whether it's Black Lives Matter, disgusting groups, garbage groups, and others, are saying that if they don't get their way with the defeating of Donald Trump at the polls in November, or if Trump gets his way by getting the appointment of Barrett as the Supreme Court Justice nominee, there's going to be violence. We're going to shut this country down. We're going to burn it down. And that's coming from newscasters, professional journalists like the low-life Don Lemon of CNN. What is going on in this country? And what should we do? I think we ought to be prepared for the worst, because these people are so juvenile and so absolutely off the wall with their thinking that if they don't get their way, they're going to destroy and denigrate. We all ought to be worried. Caller, quickly. I've only got 2 minutes left. Go ahead. Caller, talk to me if you hear me.
Yes, Deb, I can't hear you at all. So, I just know this, that after the election, if there is a landslide for Trump, Democratic mayors suffer the consequences where they're up for re-election, and in some cases, Democratic. I wonder if they're going to rethink their plans. The chaos in the streets. I mean, cooler heads, I would think, would prevail on the left, but who would know? But I would think that we would put an end to this after that, because I think that they might come to the conclusion that it has done them no good, and this Democratic Party will be virtually done if they don't change their ways. I'm going to hang up.
No, I agree with you, Randy, entirely. I don't know what's the matter with our phones this morning, but I kind of wish they'd get some new paper cups. All right, well, whatever. The phones aren't correct. But I agree with you. There's got to be cooler heads and smarter heads on the left to stop all this, but where are they, and why haven't they spoken out long before this? No way should we have seen the likes of Portland. No way should we have seen the likes of Chicago and Seattle and other towns being burned and looted and tipped up on their ear. I mean, this is ridiculous. Where are these supposed cooler heads on the left? Want to remind you, too, about our good friends that are our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Boy, they really take pride in serving you. And by the way, I want to say, too, right now during harvest, boy, they've got repair trucks that are going out to the farms, the dairies, out to the fields, and they know you got to get things done, and they're there to serve you. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely. Not only with tires, all the tread designs, all the sizes, everything, but also with the best in brake service and front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. It's getting a little cooler in the morning. Better make sure your battery's ready for it. You get a hold of them today. James and Buell, Dan on Poline and Twin, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin Falls, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're going to take a little break, come back with my old buddy Rick Manning, and then Dan Perkins. We got a couple of good guys coming up next hour. Zeb at the Ranch. We'll see you in 7. Oh my, here we go. Hour number 2 on a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. I mean, holy moly, that blue sky out there looks really, really good. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires in a very safe, clean environment. And, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, punch the button, Sean. Here we go with Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, they are always at your disposal, Western Waste Services, and don't forget, they've got the porta potties. I know you're in harvest and you go, oh my gosh, I got everything, the tractors, I've got all the equipment, I've got all the workers, I forgot the potties. Well, they can take care of it for you. Give them a call, 734-6969. Western Waste Services, yep, always at your disposal. Let's also mention about our dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary with our good old friend Joel Heward. Known him for a long time. What a nice person with his family and his staff serving you and your family at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Always, always providing the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort with very flexible hours to serve you. And remember this too, they are committed to always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please, when there's the passing of a loved one, remember to call them 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary over in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. One more quick word, and I want to say this about our friends over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. I'm hoping I can start going in there next week again with my leg, and they can help you too, recouping from a surgery or an accident. They can help you get back to being you. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, 678-1191. Nick Greenwell and all the top-notch physical therapists are there to serve you. Once again, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 678-1191. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and a guy that I just absolutely really appreciate for his comments on our program every week, and he's the president of Americans for Limited Government. Good morning, Rick Manning. How are you?
I'm doing well, Zeb. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I got an idea for you. I think that this would be, my idea, a great way to set the tone for the debate tomorrow night between President Trump and Joe Biden. I think in an honor of good faith and a goodwill gesture that when they walk out onto the stage in front of the podiums, that President Trump should take Joe Biden a pillow.
Well, it's I don't know. Maybe it should be a pillow with those, the horseshoe pillow when you have other problems that you have to sit on.
Right.
But that's a pretty funny idea. I don't know that Joe Biden would understand it, so it's probably, who knows. That's a very funny idea. This debate. A lot of people making a big deal of the president wanting drug testing and all this stuff. And what does that really mean? I will tell you why Joe Biden will never allow drug testing. Because drug testing would show what medicines he's on. And if medicines for cognitive decline, if he's on those medicines for cognitive decline, there would be, and the world would know. And so there's no way he will allow for there ever to be drug testing for anything. And I think that's part of the reason why the president's pushing him on it, is because, if there's anything that the public has a right to know, is if the future or prospective president of the United States, if a candidate is suffering from cognitive decline that's irreversible, one would think that would be a kind of a vital thing to know. And so the president's pushing him on it specifically, I think, to see if he's taking Aricept or other intervening medicines that slow cognitive decline through Alzheimer's.
Let me ask you this, Rick, and you and I talked about this last week, but honestly, here we are in the 11th hour before the debates tomorrow night, and Pelosi is still being adamant, don't do it, don't do it. Do you think there may be a pullout at the last minute and a cancellation?
There could be, but I really think what they're doing is they're trying to set expectations so low that Joe Biden exceeds them. Because in politics, and this is what most people don't realize, in politics, it isn't whether you win or lose. It's whether you exceed expectations or not, or you don't meet expectations. And the expectations for former Vice President Biden are relatively low based upon his inability to apparently operate without a teleprompter. But I'm not certain that that's not a bait. That's not a kind of baiting things, because a lot of people are watching television, are going to watch this. They've got ballots in their hands in many parts of the country, or will very shortly. And they're going to watch this and they're going to say, okay, is he up for the job? And if you set the standard, can he put three words together without stumbling over them? He'll meet the standard. Does he have a grasp on what's going on? What policies is he going to push? What policies is he going to change? Is the world a safer place? Is the world a better place? Or is my personal life going to be better or worse as a result of a Biden leadership? Then he doesn't have to meet any of those standards, because the only standard that Biden will have to meet based on expectations is he drooling all over himself and wandering around the stage without knowing where the microphone is? And so I think in many respects Nancy Pelosi is trying to push those expectations down. Quite honestly, I believe that we should have much higher expectations for Joe Biden. He's been in office for 47 years or something like that. He was vice president for 8 years. He was chairman of the Foreign Policy Committee for years. He was the chairman of the Judiciary Committee for years. He has a breadth of experience in federal government that's unmatched by virtually anyone alive. And so the expectation should be that Joe Biden would be an extraordinarily effective ability to detail specifically things he would do differently and why he would do them and why he thinks what the president's done is wrong. That's the expectation I would have is, Joe, you have to be smarter than the average bear in order to get people's vote.
Absolutely.
The expectations are being flipped.
Absolutely. I want to talk to you about the other side of this coin in just a moment. We have a caller with a question. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, forgive me for my phone, but quickly, is Chris Wallace going to, he's going to think he's fair and objective, but do you think he'll actually try to pin Biden down about Hunter and other things that Biden has said? Do you think he's going to do his job, or is he going to lean to the left? I'll hang up.
Go ahead, Rick. That's a good question.
That is a really good question. I think that Chris Wallace will hit the president hard on the tax return stuff, because the reason that was leaked was to have it influence the debate and have questions asked of him about taxes in the debate. So I think he's going to hit the president on taxes. He's going to hit, the whole question. The question is Chris Wallace offended by the fact that Joe Biden wouldn't sit down with him for a half an hour and do an interview with him for a half an hour or not? If he's offended by the fact that Joe Biden wouldn't do the sit down and the president did, then he's going to ask Joe Biden tough questions. If he's totally in the tank and just is a never Trumper who wants to get the president, at that point he'll throw softballs to Joe Biden, and probably softballs that Joe Biden already has been prepared for because he got them in advance. So we'll see. We can judge a lot about Chris Wallace based on what happens tomorrow night.
I would say this, and Rick, feel free to jump on my case and tell me I'm wrong, but I think that there's too much pressure right now, which is a good thing, on Chris Wallace to be a middle-of-the-roader on this thing, to the point where, after it's all said and done, people are going to ask, well, who was the moderator? In other words, I don't think he's going to try to make himself a focal point.
That would be the wisest thing that Chris Wallace could do. That would be the wisest course, to not have him be the Candy Crowley of this debate, yes, where he effectively uses the Biden talking points to drive message and to bail Biden out on issues where he's not able to really act well on or respond well on. So that certainly would be what I would recommend to him. So much of this stuff, Zeb, is you can plan anything you want, but at least the questions are all planned out, the timing's all planned out. But so much of this stuff is guts, and in terms of where the thing's going and things that the moderator thinks is interesting, and where there's clash and where, what he wants to do, a moderator should get the candidates to fight amongst one another. Creating clash between the candidates is the moderator's job. Think about a referee at a boxing match when they're in a clinch and nothing's happening, they push them apart so they can start punching on one another again. That's the moderator's job, is to make certain that they are hitting flash points, and because that drives ratings. And quite honestly, it gives the public something to judge it on. I think Chris Wallace will perform that role. The question is, will he put his thumb on the scale like a WWE referee, mm-hmm, and effectively pull Joe Biden off the floor when he's floundering around or not? And that will be the question that we'll have to watch. And quite honestly, I don't know the answer.
Let me ask you this. We've spent the first 10 minutes in our conversation talking about Biden and how he's going to get through this, etc. But under what parameters would you tell Donald Trump he'd better stay within so that he doesn't make a fool of himself, or he doesn't seem to be an attack dog that absolutely is trying to just go after Biden on his senility, on his health issues, etc.? What would you tell Donald Trump he'd better stay within certain boundaries?
Yeah, the president needs to be presidential. If the president's presidential, the number one reason why people who should vote for Donald Trump aren't is because he's seen as being too abrasive and too New York. And he needs to be presidential. And if he's presidential and has command of the facts, which he does, then it will be I think it will be a very good night for the president. If he ends up being, going and engaging in Twitter-like attacks and snarky attacks, at that point, his base will love it, and we'll all be laughing about it. That was a great hit. Unfortunately, the people who are trying to make a decision, who are still trying to decide, who like Trump policies but don't like Trump, those people will sit there and say, I just can't do another 4 years of this.
Right.
So I think dialing back the Trumpiness and increasing being the president and acting the president's role, I think that's something which if he did, it would greatly enhance his capacity to come off this debate with a major win.
I agree with you. We've got about 8 minutes left, and I want to spend that 8 minutes talking about a situation that I think is extremely volatile, and I think the left is going to use it to show their slime and sleaze, and that's the appointment of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
I think the left's going to surprise you. Nancy Pelosi and Dick Durbin, who are the two real attack dogs in terms of the congressional party, have made it clear that they don't want her attacked on religion. The Democrat talking point is talk about how people are going to lose millions of people are going to lose their health insurance because the Supreme Court's going to get rid of Obamacare, which they should have done 5 years ago, but that's a different story. And so that's their attack point. Not personal. It's about policy, and it's not even about abortion. It's about trying to reach out to people who don't realize that there could be a deal on pre-existing conditions tomorrow as a standalone bill that the president would sign, and we basically create a federal pot of money that dealt with pre-existing conditions, so the rest of us didn't have to pay for pre-existing conditions. If that is, in fact, I think that's a value that the United States people have said they want to do. So if it's a value they want to do, let's deal with it and not mess up the whole entire healthcare system in order to pay for pre-existing conditions. Just take them out of the system. So so they're going to hit on that hard. The real question here, Zeb, is if all these radicals have said if the president appoints somebody, we're going to burn down America.
Mm-hmm.
We saw former CNN analysts say that. We saw that reaction from a lot of the left. If those people are not rioting on the streets, what it tells you is the Democrat establishment basically controls the people rioting on the streets. And that'll be a tell that shows that they actually that the rioting is in fact a tactic, and it's a tactic that they're using to press a point. So and right now that tactic doesn't work to Joe Biden's benefit. So if we see the same kind of viciousness that we saw during the Kavanaugh hearing, at that point you know that the institutional left does not control the violent left. If you don't see that, then you know they do. And ultimately, I don't think it works for the left either way, but it's certainly in their interest not to have this become a Kavanaugh hearing.
Do you think that religion, especially with her faith as a Catholic, and it seems the Democrats failed to forget, or remember, I should say, about John F. Kennedy in the 60s being Catholic, do you think that is going to play a major part, or will the Democrats run and hide from anything connected to religion?
Nancy Pelosi is urging them to not bring up religion. Kamala Harris is on the Judiciary Committee. She will give the signal as to what they're going to do because she's on the ticket, and I think they'll follow her lead. Joe Biden is Roman Catholic as well, and kind of wears it on his sleeve, even though he doesn't vote for many of the principles that the Roman Catholic Church hold out there. he is a Roman Catholic. And so they use that in the Catholic community pretty heavily. And that, in fact, is their shield against an attack on being anti-Roman Catholic. Now, I would say this. I use the word Roman Catholic because the word Catholic means universal, and Roman Catholic specifies a religion. So, anyway, that's just as a Protestant, that's something I learned. So, anyhow, point being, there will be those who use her Roman Catholicism against her. There'll be those who attack some different groups that she belongs to within the Catholic Church, and we'll try to juxtapose her versus a good Catholic, Joe Biden, whatever that means. But I think if they attack her, this is Midwest. Roman Catholic vote in the Midwest is huge, and if they attack her for her religion, it has a potential four-state consequence in terms of states voting for Trump versus Biden, and they would be absolute blithering idiots to do it on the national stage a month and a half before the election.
There seems to be so much sleaze on the left, and I've got to tell you this man by the name of Ibram X. Kendi, an American author who is now the new director of the Center for Anti-Racist Research at Boston University, said that Amy Barrett, for adopting 2 black children from Haiti, equated her and her husband to be white colonizers. Sometimes the scum on the left just can't keep quiet.
That statement is the most racist thing I've ever heard, first of all.
Yeah.
But having said that, I would encourage anybody to go look up this guy on Wikipedia, because his parents were upper middle class parents. They both worked. They worked hard. They both were educated. Their son went to college, and he ended up getting, basically got a master's degree in African American studies. He went and got a PhD in African American studies, and that's what you get when you create an educated indoctrination in race theory. It's exactly why the president took on critical race theory in terms of getting it out of government, because the indoctrination leads to a belief that every action by a white is in fact racist, because all whites are racist at their core. That is the theory. That's what he believes. And so helping people out of poverty, helping kids out of poverty is in fact a racist act in and of itself, even though they were colorblind in doing it.
One last thought, Rick, and I've got to run, but do you think that the time frame as of today, September 28th, and they're hoping to get a vote on this and finalization before the end of October, do you think the Republicans can do this or not?
I couldn't hear you.
I know. We're not going to be able to take that call. Sean, at the studio, we're not going to be able to take that call. I want Rick to answer this last question. Do you think the time frame for trying to get Barrett appointed as Supreme Court judge, will it be able to be had during the time frame before the November election?
She will be on the court within 30 days.
Excellent.
So yes is the answer. And lastly, 15 seconds. I was at the prayer march with Franklin Graham, and I just wanted to let the people of Idaho know that I was at the World War II Memorial, and they have the different states on pillars, and facing due south is the Idaho pillar, and there wasn't anybody there, so I prayed at the Idaho pillar for the people of Idaho as part of what I did, and I was thinking of you in particular. So I just wanted you to know that was a spot that happened to have nobody around, so I jumped on it and got the opportunity to pray for our country, but also and pray for our servicemen, but also to pray for the good people of Idaho, because you guys are the ones who are going to make a difference in this country. We're just doing holding action back here in Washington, D.C. We need you to send us the fighters who are going to be able to fight in Congress for the future to win.
You're the best, Rick. I appreciate everything you do. God bless you. Rick Manning, the president of Americans for Limited Government. Take care, my dear friend, and I'll be in touch. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Always look forward to his remarks. Rick Manning, thank you very much. By the way, if you get a little bit hungry during the day and you go, I don't want to cook at home, well, I know a great place to go, and that's Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and the other location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. I mean, breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, everything, whether it's Parmesan chicken or whether it is strawberry crepes for breakfast, or any kind of burgers, all the breakfast skillets. Oh my goodness, it goes on and on and on. You're going to love the food. You're going to love the service at Denny's Restaurant. It's true. It's America's Diner serving you. Thomas and the rest of the staff, they welcome you in the door at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Want to also remind you, too, quickly about our friends over to Let's Ride. Oh, my goodness, get your motor running. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. The weather forecast for the rest of this week going into next weekend. Oh, yeah, get up in the hills and see exactly the beauty that's here in southern Idaho. They've got all the side-by-sides and all the four-wheelers. Oh, yes, and their hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2. And all the accessories, too. I mean, they've got a showroom just full of fun. And a great service department to keep you running, too, at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and this is where the fun is sold. Don't forget, over in that same area, I want to remind you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Hello, Todd. Hello, everybody. Great programs for you, your family, and your business. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. These people over at Cameron and Siemens Insurance are very thoughtful and caring and devoted to serving you. All you need to do is just pick up the phone and give a call at 436-4424, 436-4424. Call them, make an appointment. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really nice people. When I talk about nice people, I always bring this man into my memory because he's been there, Johnny on the spot, every time we've needed him on this program, and that's political analyst Dan Perkins, recovering from some surgery. How you feeling, my friend?
I can talk. I couldn't talk on Friday. I was in the chair for 2.5 hours, and they had my jaw locked open, so I could hardly move my mouth, but I got my voice back. I'm raring to go.
What did you do? Get in the ring with Mike Tyson, or what happened?
No, I had a molar that cracked and was falling apart, so they had to go in and take it apart and then build it back up so they could put a crown on it. And then they had to create the crown. So,
oh my!
You know, it was 2.5 hours, but it is what it had to be done because I could have been in serious pain if it had cracked off and exposed the nerves. So,
oh my goodness!
Thank you for asking.
Well, I tell you what, when it comes to dentists, I mean, I'm like a little bitty baby. I hate to go in there. Dan, one of the things, and we've got a little feedback on the line, Sean. If you could cut that back just a touch, I'd appreciate it. Dan, what about this subject to talk to you about this morning? I know you've probably written about it, studied it, etc. I am really concerned about the mayhem and the absolute not caring for public property or private property, the burning, the looting, the shootings. My goodness, leading up to an election, when is this going to stop, and when are the Democrats ever going to step forward and say enough is enough?
Well, I would say that's a great question. Let me answer your question as best I can. It'll have to be theoretically, but I believe if Joe Biden were to win the presidency, the riots would stop the next day. If Joe Biden does not win the presidency, then the riots will continue. And I think that they'll probably continue until after Donald Trump is inaugurated. And then I think things will change. And what I think will happen is that the president will step in all those cities and bring in either martial law or take over the cities, the security for the cities, because it's clear that the local mayors, I mean, there were 48 people shot in Chicago last weekend. 48 people shot. And so right now, the president can't do a lot other than jawboning unless he gets a request from the governor or the mayor or city council or whatever. I do think it's interesting that over the weekend, the lofty New York Times did a story on the number of city council members in Minneapolis who started the defund the police movement, who are openly expressing second thoughts about that decision.
Dan, everything you talk about, you're a straight shooter on, and you really do your homework. Why did we, the American public, and I mean this, whether they're Republican or Democrat or independent, why did we, the people, allow this mess and this garbage to go this long?
Because the mess is primarily taking place in blue states and blue cities, meaning Democratic controlled. I wrote a commentary, as you suspected. I did write about this. And I went and looked at the top 20 cities that had the greatest amount of violence through this whole period of time. Of the 20 cities, 19 were Democrat-controlled and had been controlled anywhere from as little as 30 years to as high as 60 years. So the big cities, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Philadelphia, all these cities have been controlled by Democratic powers for decades and decades. And so what happened was the black people, and this is really an important issue here, Zeb, the black people who lived in the cities, who were the victims of the violence, whether it was the burning of their storefronts or their houses, for all this time have depended upon the Democrats to live up to the promises they've made about making a better life. And the Democrats continue to promise but never deliver. I think that there's a fundamental change that's taking place, and that is that the blacks in the inner city who have now begun to understand that they were pawns of the Democratic Party, and as a result, promises were made but were never kept. But the operative issue, though, Zeb, is that Republicans never went there. Democrats would go into the churches and the communities, the community centers and neighborhoods, and they would make promises to do as best they could to improve the quality of life for black people. And so the black people voted for them because the Republicans never showed up. That changed dramatically in 2016 when Donald Trump faced the people in Detroit and said, "What have you got to lose?" And what happened was they had nothing they lost. They gained tremendously during the first 3 years of the president's administration. Lowest black unemployment and youth black unemployment in decades. And income went up and people's standard of living changed. So what you're seeing is not only at the Republican convention did you see more and more black people standing up to support what Donald Trump was saying, they were criticizing the Democratic Party. For black people, black leaders to criticize the Democratic Party is a huge shift. And now you have them on television as commentators who are criticizing how we have been pawns of the Democratic Party. Now, the last number I saw in polling data showed that about 40% of Hispanics were now supporting Donald Trump, and over 30% were supporting, blacks were supporting Donald Trump. And he got 8% in 2016. The Democrats need to get at least 85% of the black vote if they have any chance of winning. The two biggest minorities, Hispanics and blacks, are trending away from the Democrats, going to Donald Trump.
Let me ask you this, though. In your studies, when you write your various pieces, your various articles, etc., Dan, What did you find when you talked to various people, let's say 35 years of age and older? What in the world is going through the mindset of America today that we, America, could possibly exist without law, without order, and without police? I mean, where do these people come from in the first place?
Well, that's a great question, and thank you for asking it. The answer to that question is the public education system in this country. They have stopped teaching government and civics a long time ago. So those 35-year-olds who never had civics in high school, never understood the Constitution of the government or how the government works for the people. They have no fundamental background in that, so they don't know anything. So when somebody says, well, we're going to make this free, we'll make that free, and you don't have to pay for it, their understanding is very limited. So we have an education system that has, for the last 40 years, been training this generation of the alternative of a socialist country, and forgot about our past. Our past isn't important, and so the millenniums, many of them, have no solid foundation on what it means to be an American and why America is different than the rest of the world.
You know, that really kind of spells it out for me, and I'm going to jump ahead to another subject that I want to talk about before we run out of time, and I'm just going to simply say this. Do you believe that with all this talk and all this illegality that's going on in preparation for the election, with the mail-in ballots and ballots that are being found in closets or in the backseat of a Volkswagen or whatever, do you believe we're going to have an honest election that's with integrity, or is this going to be a mess?
Well, it has the potential to be a mess. I think that one thing that's happening is that quietly the Democrats are moving away from the mail-in ballots because so many stories of misuse by the Postal Service, cases of ballots found in a ditch outside in Wisconsin, thousands of ballots disqualified in elections in New York and New Jersey and Arizona, so that the ability to use these universal ballots to try and change the outcome of the election, I have no doubt that they're going to try. But I think that it isn't going to be what they thought, and as a result, turnout is going to be important. And the Republicans are doing a much better job of convincing people to turn out and vote as opposed to mail-in. There are obviously going to be some people because of age or infirmity or whatever, physical conditions because of the pandemic, are going to have absentee ballots. But I this Hillary's saying to Biden, never concede. And he may have a landslide victory on election night. By the time we count all the other ballots, the election will reverse itself. I don't think that's going to be true. I think there are too many things going on, going back to your earlier question about violence in the streets. The polling data says that over 50% of the American voters of any race, color, or creed, or political persuasion are angry about what's going on with the destruction of property and livelihoods being destroyed. So I think that there's going to be a reaction at the polls, and the assumption that the Democrats have made is all the universal ballots will go Democrat. I don't think you can make that situation real. So I think we're going to have some contention, but I predicted several months ago that I thought that Donald Trump would win at least 365 electoral votes in this campaign, maybe more. There's a number, and I don't know, Zeb, what that number is, but there is a number that mail-in ballots and all this stuff that remaining to be counted is not going to change the outcome of the election. So we're gonna wonder all the way through election night what's going to happen. But I think that the potential dislocation that's out there is waning rapidly because I think American people want to be able to take a stand and say, I'm standing up for this country and for the president. I'm going to go out and vote.
I would imagine, knowing you for the years that you've come on my program, that tomorrow evening you are going to be glued to the television set watching the debate. And I will say this. I personally think that the first debate is going to be the ultimate debate, because I think the American public is either going to see through the smokescreen of Joe Biden, or they're going to have more animosity towards Donald Trump. I think this debate tomorrow evening is the debate. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I understand your logic, and I won't totally fault it, but keep in mind that the mainstream media has one position, Biden as the underdog, and that all the stories about his competence has put a very low expectation about what he can do at the debate. I think that you could be right. If Donald Trump presses him hard and Joe gets flustered and starts making crazy statements, it will be hurting him. But I think the second one, actually, if it happens, will be potentially more devastating, because he's going to have to be talking to answers people's questions from the audience, a town hall format. And there's no way to predict what those people are going to say and how they're going to say it and what their tone and tenor is going to be, so that Joe would be more exposed to not being able to know what to say when the voter goes after him.
Absolutely a good point. One last thought before I run out of time. We are in the middle of what could be a very contentious Supreme Court nomination with Amy Coney Barrett. What are your thoughts in trying to get this done prior to November 3rd?
I think it's going to get done. The hearing's going to be, I saw over the weekend that McConnell wants to schedule the hearing, first day of the hearing on October the 12th for 3 days, possibly 4, and a vote before Halloween, so that she will probably be seated. Nancy Pelosi over the weekend. One of the things I wrote about this last week, and I said one of the things that the Democrats are going to have to be very careful with is that they're going to go after her religion, as they did in 2017 when she was being confirmed for the Seventh Circuit, and Dianne Feinstein accused her of her moral principles deep in her heart were driven by the Catholic Church. I said at the time last week when it was announced that she was going to be appointed, I said Democrats are going to have to be very careful with the Catholic issue, because I believe what she's got going for her, she's a woman, she's a mother, she has 2 adopted black children from Haiti, she's got a stellar reputation on the court, and she's a Christian. Going after any one of those pieces is going to, I believe, alienate white suburban women voters, both of black and non-black color. So they're going to have to be very careful, because they could go after her. And I noticed Nancy Pelosi yesterday said she was advising her Democratic colleagues in the Senate that her Catholicness should be off the table, should not talk about it. So if you're not going to go after her, that the fact that she's a Catholic, and I did a commentary, just to give you some idea of what I fight against, Zeb, I did a commentary this weekend with a rhetorical question that would be posed to Amy from one of the Democratic senators, and that is, does your church have a supply of guns in the basement? And if you remember when John Kennedy was running, the whole story about Catholics is that they had guns in the basement of their churches to prepare for insurrection. I I found a photograph of an arsenal of rifles. My publisher took that picture out and simply put a 45 pistol on top of a Bible. He apparently didn't want to deal with all of the weapons. But we are still dealing with stereotypes that go back to John Kennedy and Al Smith. And so I think that this is not the time for the Democrats. If they want to, God love them, because I think it'll cost them a great deal. We saw what happened to several senators who went after Judge Kavanaugh. They didn't get reelected. They go after Amy, and they do it in a non-Christian way, and they assault her religion. There's an awful lot of people in this country who have a belief in Christ, and regardless of their faith, and that's not going to sit well with a lot of Americans.
Let me I've got about 2 minutes left.
And can I just say one real quick thing?
Sure.
I'm sorry for taking so much of your time. You know that the Democrats have been talking about, if he names this judge, Amy, to the court, that when Biden wins, he should immediately start to pack the court. Okay? Meaning they want to add more liberal judges to the court. How about this for a twist, Deb? Donald Trump gets reelected, and Donald Trump decides to pack the court with conservative judges.
Then I think, as the saying goes, all heck will break loose. I want to ask you one more quick question, though, and it's kind of a statement, too. I've got about 2 minutes left here, Dan. Donald Trump. I asked my previous guest that was on the air with me the same question. I'm going to ask you. What would you tell him to do or not to do during the debate tomorrow night? Donald Trump. What would you tell him?
I would say Donald Trump be Donald Trump, the Donald Trump we know. Support the country, support America, go after those people who are attacking our country. And if he's gonna back away, I think that's a mistake. So I think I know there are people out there who are saying that he shouldn't be hard on Joe. I think he should be as hard on Joe as he was on Hillary.
Yep.
No reason. And if Joe can't take the heat, then he doesn't deserve to be president of the United States, because he doesn't have the skin for it. But I would hope that he would be the Donald Trump that we've grown to love and hate over the last 3.5, almost 4 years.
I agree.
Don't
totally.
change who you are for this debate.
Absolutely. Dan, I wish you well. I certainly hope all goes well for you. You know you're going to get a call and have you back on the program. God bless you, Dan Perkins. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
All right, sir. I really enjoy having him on the air. Straight shooter, Dan Perkins, and he really is an excellent writer, too. I'm late. I know. I've got to get the weather on, and the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they provide accounting services to the Mini-Cash area, as they have for well over 50 years. They're the best at what they do. Let me tell you, they are the professionals. Tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, and financial statement preparation, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. And they've got offices in Burley and Rupert to serve you, your family, and your business. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, the professionals. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Smoke is clearing out. There is some harvest dust in the air and mild temperatures for this week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies for today with a little bit of a breeze. We are expecting a high of 68. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 38 tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies, high of 77, a light breeze out of the east. Tuesday night, clear skies with a low of 43. Sunny and 78 for Wednesday, pretty much the same for Thursday and Friday. That's a look at your weather for 7-3.
I just checked the temperature here at my place, and I thought, whoa, that can't be right. It's still only 49 degrees outside right now. Woo-hoo, little chilly. Weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And as I said, these are the professionals with accounting services to you, helping folks starting a business or a partnership or a corporation or wanting to expand their business. Get a hold of them today. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Little chilly outside in the morning when I went out this morning. Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said in the opening remarks, holy cow, I stood there looking up at the stars after I got done with my feeding, and I thought, fall is here. Hey, I know some great people that you need to go in and see. And when it comes to electronics and all the gizmos and all the different surveillance cameras and electronic needs like your car stereos and speakers or your complete sound systems or your TVs. Holy cow, they've got it all at Patterson's Electronics. That's right. 421 East Main in Burley. Boy, these are good people. Smart people. Curtis and Lorena. And they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Patterson's Electronics. Don't forget, whatever your needs are, they can explain it to you and they can help. Believe me. They've got, like I said a moment ago, all the TVs from Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. Wow. They're there to serve you, and serve they will at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. The number, 678-6997. Coming up next hour, what have we got cooking? We've got Dr. Richard Lee that's going to be on our program, and boy, this man is really, really interesting. He's the author of the book called The Battle for the Soul of America and How Christians Can Win It. We're looking forward to having him on the program. Then, at 10:32 this morning, we're going to have Deb Hines with Dog Days. I get all kinds of calls about people saying, well, what about that dog they mentioned here? What about that puppy or whatever? So be sure and tune in at 10:32 this morning, and Deb will have Dog Days with the Minidoka Animal Control. Don't forget that. Tomorrow, I'm going to say this right now on the program. Tomorrow on the show, I want to give a highlight. We're going to have Energy Czar. I mean, this guy really knows all about energy, and that, of course, is Dan Kish with the American Energy Alliance on tomorrow morning. Dr. History's going to be here tomorrow morning. Dr. Lamero, Dr. Gerard Lamero is going to be here, along with Karen Cataline. Oh, my goodness, we've got a full staple of great guests tomorrow on the show, so don't you miss it. Thanks to everybody being so kind to my wife and myself. I cannot and I will not be able to name everybody that has shown so much kindness. People are dropping off food. People are dropping off potatoes. People are sending emails. People are sending cards. God bless all of you. God bless all of you folks for your kind thoughts for my wife's health and our well-being. Thank you so much. She is getting better. And boy, does she look great this morning. Every day is an improvement day, and God bless her. Her health is picking up, and she's doing a lot better. Thank you for all your kind remarks. Right now, let's go to the news. We'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, my. Here we go. A cool morning on this Monday, September 28th. About 52 degrees outside. Welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with the best of tires in a very safe, clean environment. And also, we want to thank Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Before we go to our guest, I want to urge you, seniors, listen up, please. Greystone Crossing, Senior Living. Oh, this is a beautiful place. 12-bedroom home, and I'm telling you, 3 meals a day, plus snacks, housekeeping, local transportation, all included in the rent. What do? It's easy. You just pick up the phone and call Matt or Kelly Wiggins at 650-4979. That number again, 650-4979. They'd be happy to set up an appointment to show you this beautiful facility, Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Really, really nice. A little frog in the throat here this morning, I'll tell you. And while I have just a moment, I also want to tell you about 7K Metals. You can help yourself build your own financial security and future. How do you do it? Easy. All you have to do is call my friends, Lon Hardy or Sharon, and they'll give you the information about silver purchases sent right to your home through 7K Metals. It is a saving opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. Call Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon at 430-3259. Tell them I told you to call. They'll give you all the information about 7K Metals and silver purchases for you. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And I had this gentleman on the program not too many weeks ago, and I found him to be extremely interesting. He's the author of the book called The Battle for the Soul of America and How Christians Can Win It. Dr. Richard Lee, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hello, my friend. Good to talk with you again.
It is my pleasure to have you back on the program, and I couldn't think of a better time to have you on right now after the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, leaving an open seat on the Supreme Court, and all the hubbub that's going on before the election November 3rd. I'll tell you right up front, I am in absolute favor of filling that seat before the election, and I think that this judge, Amy Coney Barrett, would do a great job. I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I'll tell you, this must be a move of God, because I don't know anybody in the world that could find someone better for the position. And I'm not just saying that. Think about it. Here's a lady, top of her class at Notre Dame, a mother of a faithful mother and wife, mother of 7 individuals, babies and children, a devout Catholic life that is pure and clean, and has a spirit of humility and grace. I mean, I am so excited about how we're going to have a Supreme Court justice on the Supreme Court that exemplifies ladyhood, what real ladyhood is all about. Not that the others did not, but I believe, in my opinion, she would be the epitome of it.
Dr. Lee, let me ask you this, and we might as well get right down to the brass tacks. There is a movement I think is going to happen by the left, and they're going to do all they can to denigrate her, degrade her, and possibly really use her religion against her. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, that is a wonderful thing for Republicans and a very stupid thing is for Democrats. You'll think about the fact that 70% of Americans are Christians, and almost all Latinos are Catholics. To attack all the Latinos' faith, to attack the faith of, I'm not saying they're all Catholics, but to attack the faith of 70% of Christians in America, that is something that's just not very bright. It'll drive many people to vote for Trump who would not vote before or would not have voted for him. And then this business that they've come up with about, oh, she's part of this secret sect. Well, it's not a secret, nothing secret about it. But if we want to talk secrets, think about the Freemasons. Think about the fact that 19 of our Supreme Court judges have been Freemasons, 15 presidents have been Freemasons. They won't tell you about anything, and it's their right to. But this lady's not a part of any kind of sect, so that won't wash. Then secondly, maybe thirdly, they are going against the Sixth Amendment. Last paragraph of the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution says you cannot have a litmus test that includes a person's religion. In fact, you can't even bring it up. So they're beating their heads against the wall, but see, their hatred, their spite, their jealousy causes them not to have common sense, which without common sense, everything is nonsense.
You know, let me ask you this. I could tell by listening to your verbiage that maybe you're saying that this nomination hearing will not be as contentious as the Kavanaugh hearing. Is that what I hear you say?
Well, I'm not saying it's not, but they'll have no fodder for it. America was put through a terrible time when Kavanaugh went through what he went through. Not only was America put through that, but his family. My heart grieved for his family when I saw them make up all of these lies about him being some kind of a rapist or some kind of a womanizer. And there was his wife and his children breaking that family. This family, I don't think American citizens are going to allow them to break this family. I cannot imagine in my wildest dreams that Americans will sit by and allow this to happen. This lady's already been through a confirmation 2017 to a justice on the court, but to allow her to be brutalized, I don't believe it'll happen. If it happens, there'll be an outcry that I don't think this nation has ever seen concerning a appointment to the Supreme Court.
My next question basically aims right at the title of your book, The Battle for the Soul of America. In all my years, and I'm an old man, I'm 72 years of age, I have never seen as much strife and mayhem and falling apart at the seams as we see right now in America. And it's really funny that within the last 8 months, all the racist attitudes and all the denigration of people and the looting and the burning and the shooting and everything seems to be enhanced. What about the strife that's going on in America? How are we going to put this thing back together?
Well, we've got to put it together, first of all, physically with law and order. We are a nation of laws. Those laws have not only been abused, they've been allowed to be abused. They have been endorsed by many of these Democratic governors and city mayors who have endorsed the burning of their citizens' stores, their homes, the beatings of innocent people. They've endorsed that. Well, let me say this. If we're a nation of laws, somebody's got to bring those laws to be. Some people say, well, why doesn't the president do that? Well, you've got to read the Constitution then. The states have certain power. The states have certain rights. He cannot usurp the rights of the states just on a whim. That's why he has begged the governors to allow the federal officers to come into their cities and the National Guard. He has to beg them. They have to say, come on, or he cannot send them according to our Constitution. So people say, well, why did the president do something? He can't do something. If he did that, that means that any president could, after that, have his way in any state. So people don't realize what the Constitution... We live in a society that has not been informed about the nation they live in. Thomas Jefferson said this, for a nation to be... who wants to be ignorant and free is wanting something that never was and never will be. Our people need to be educated upon the principles of our great nation. And number one, law and order has to be restored. Number two, this racism that comes from these liberal elites that are pouring money into these hoodlums that are running free in our streets. They need to be held accountable. I'm not talking about just the people who are burning and looting and so forth, certainly, but those people who are paying them to do it. I got caught in one of those riots just about a month ago. I spent an hour and a half among them, cursing me, threatening me, spitting on me, doing all those kind of things. And the hatred those folks have is a hatred that is supernatural. Let me say that. It's beyond hatred that I've ever seen. So there's a lot that's got to be a lot to happen. Think about the racism that was before Barack Obama. We didn't have this kind of thing going on, but he came in, began to institute racism, and its ultimate goal is the destruction of our society, just like his ultimate goal is the philosophy of Saul Alinsky, and that comes from destroying society.
Dr. Lee, I want to go back just to what you said a moment ago, the hatred that's going on in this country. Is this a hatred that is a legitimate hatred, or is it a manufactured, paid-for hatred?
Well, let me just put it this way. While I was among those people in the riots, I calmed a few of them down. I said, "What are you angry about?" They had no excuse. They could not say. They would say the same thing, the F word, and then something else. This is a manufactured hatred among Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be when those who are manufacturing it are put, are stopped dead in their tracks. I think that, and the others, either they're incarcerated or they're threatened to be incarcerated. I think things are going to calm down. I think things after this election are going to calm down because those who are fueling this only for the election. And not just the election, but the power of having a power in America to do what they want to with their minions and their millions of dollars.
Did anybody that you talked to that could be coherent and sensible in their replies to you, did anybody give any good answers, or was it all this blatant, the F-bomb and everything else? Did they ever give any sinister and real answers to the problems?
Well, I had one lady, I'll call her a lady, she was actually a woman, follow me for about 20 minutes, cursing me in my right ear. And I asked her, I said, "Will you calm down for a minute?" She said, "I am calm." I said, "Well, quit screaming, yelling. Let me ask you a question." "You don't have to ask me a question," she said. I said, "Why are you doing this?" She said, "I'm doing this because of Donald Trump." She said, "All of this is his fault. You see, these people rioting is his fault." I said, "Now, tell me how it's his fault." "Well, I'll tell you how. I watch it on the news, and they tell me it's his fault. And I know they tell me the truth. And so that's why I'm here." I said, "You're going to believe a newscaster instead of studying for yourself?" She said, "I believe what I see on TV." So these fake news, the CNN and all these other fake news are the ones that's stirring up all this strife. They're stirring up all this strife because it makes people watch the TV, it sells the magazines and newspapers, and all they're interested in is not the calmness or the racial harmony in America, but the bottom line dollar.
Dr. Lee, I've got to ask you this. When I keep looking and studying your title of the book, The Battle for the Soul of America, what today, with all the strife and all the burnings and the lootings and the shootings, what is the soul of America today?
Well, the soul of America is not found in those individuals. The soul of America is found in the heartland. And the heartland, I don't just mean the middle of our nation. It's the people who are regular folks, the average regular American, those who work every day, have a work ethic, those who have a common decency, those who love people not because of the color of their skin, like King said, Martin Luther King, the content of their character. The good, ordinary people, they are America. And we're fighting for the soul of those individuals and their rights and their liberties. So when we talk about the soul of America, we're certainly not talking about Washington, D.C. We're talking about the folks like you and me who work with an honest job, who pay our taxes, who love our fellow men, who love our families, and try to do the best we can in this life. Those are the people who make up the soul of America.
Let me say this, and feel free to correct me if you think I'm wrong, but there are two entities in our society today that need a great big broom and a dustpan and start cleaning things up. One would be education in our schools, and two would be our churches. Would you agree or not?
I would agree with that fully. I'm a pastor now 50 years. You think, well, how? I started as a teenager. Been a pastor 50 years. I know churches, I know pastors. My father was one, my brother was one, my uncle was one, so forth. But I'm just telling you, we have weakness in the pulpits because I believe it goes back to the fact that that men have been so attacked in the last, let's say, 3 decades, and told that white males, especially white males and sometimes black males, that we have been problems to society, that we should cow down to other groups and so forth. And we don't have men in the pulpits anymore who will preach the Word of God and preach it strong. You know, when we go back in history, we see de Tocqueville, Alexis de Tocqueville. When he came to America and he said, I studied America, and I did not know America. I did not understand it until I went to the pulpits of America, and they were on fire with preaching of righteousness. Then he said, I understood the fabric of America. He taught us, when he said that the key to America is twofold. Number one, to have pastors who will stand and preach the Word of God as it is. Call sin, sin. Call debauchery, debauchery. And turn their people like it happened in the First and Second Great Awakening. Secondly, it's to have people in public office who have dignity, character, and have experience in this life, not as professional politicians, but living life as a citizen and then living life as a representative of those citizens.
Dr. Lee, when people get your book, The Battle for the Soul of America and How Christians Can Win It, what do you want them to take from your book after they close the last chapter? I mean, what's the main thing you want them to keep in their mind?
I want them to keep in mind that they can be a change agent. They do not have to fear. They do not have to say, well, you know, those folks that are in government offices or so forth, they're so far above me scholastically and every other way that my voice would not count. I want them to understand their voice counts as much as anyone else's. And they should not be fearful. They should stand in courage. They should stand for the values of this nation, and we talk about those values in the book. And if they do that, they can turn America around one by one.
I absolutely urge everybody to get this book. Now, where can it be obtained?
They can get it on Amazon, or they can go to my website where all my other books are listed, and that is There's Hope, TheresHope, thereshope.org.
One final thought, Dr. Lee, before I let you go. And I'm a sports nut, but I have absolutely turned my back on the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball because of some of their positions against America and the promotion of one certain group. How are we going to stop this trend of which the young people look up to the likes of LeBron James, and they look up to others in sports, Colin Kaepernick, etc., and they've got a very disdainful thought and viewpoint against America? How can we change this?
Well, it's going to have to happen over several generations. I haven't watched the NFL this year. Of course, I used to be a big NFL fan, but they lost me. I haven't watched basketball in years because most of them are reprobates and thieves and so forth who are in the professional sports. You say, I don't believe that. Well, go on the internet sometime and look at their criminal records and all the rest. But I just say it's going to take parents spending time with their children, finding other things to do that are more creative. I do watch college football. I do not know, maybe I'm ignorant, but I don't know of a big Black Lives Matter end zone in college football anywhere.
Amen.
But because that's a socialist Marxist organization, I hope folks know that. But nevertheless, I think it's going to take several generations. Maybe fathers and mothers need to get back to spending real time with their children, other than just put them in front of a TV and turning it on and say, watch this sports. And there's a whole lot of things on television, yes, but there are a whole lot of things you can do besides watch television.
Amen. The book is called The Battle for the Soul of America and How Christians Can Win It, and that's Dr. Richard Lee. Sir, you are welcome here anytime. Thank you so much.
Well, God bless you and your work.
Thank you, sir. Just absolutely have to get a copy of that book, The Battle for the Soul of America, Dr. Richard Lee, and I appreciate him being on the show again this morning. Right now, I want to tell everybody about what's going on over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Hello, Jeff and the crew over there. My goodness sakes, they've got all the Simmons Beauty Rest mattresses for a good night's sleep. I'll tell you. Along with all that, they've got all the bedroom sets and they've got all the furniture of all types, whether it's your chairs, your recliners, your dining room sets, whatever it might be. It's all there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And I know that you're going to be getting a lot of people over to your house, and we're going to be indoors starting at this time of the year with the fall and then the winter season coming on, and they've got the largest selection of floor covering anywhere around. All the carpet, all the vinyl plank, everything. And boy, with the kids in school, now's a perfect time to take care of it. So get a hold of them today. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Telephone number to call, 878-2341. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Well, let's see, what else have I got to do here real quick? In just a couple of minutes, we're going to be calling over to Minidoka Animal Control and talking to Deb Hines. Nice lady. And last week she was gone. Kelly was on, did a great job. Appreciate that. And we're going to be talking about dog days and some of the great dogs that they have over there for you. So you listen up in about 3-4 minutes. We'll have dog days. Don't go away. We're going to send it back over to Sean and the crew at the main studio.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, you know, I love all animals, and we've got a lot of animals right here in my neighborhood and everything. Everything from donkeys to geese to, what else, Deanne? We've got sheep, we've got ducks, turkeys. I mean, they're all around us. And dogs, along with horses, are my favorites. We're blessed to have two good dogs. One, of course, Festus, the other one, Red. And this lady that's coming on next, every time she's on the air, she always paints a picture of all the dogs that are looking for good quality homes and owners. Good morning, Deb Hines with Minidoka Animal Control. How are you?
I'm good, Zeb. How's everything going with you guys?
Really, really good. Deanna's getting better, and the world is taking on rosier tones. I'll just leave it at that.
Perfect. Glad to hear it.
I want to compliment you, by the way. Last week, you had to take off and be at another meeting, and the lady that you had fill in, Kelly, did a wonderful job, and I just want you to tell her that she did an excellent job promoting all the dogs over at your shelter.
Yeah, she's my... I call her my kennel manager. I said I bring him in, give him to you, and then you let me know what I'm doing.
Okay. Well, you know, going into the fall, and I made a comment earlier this morning that I get up at about 3:45 in the morning and go out and do chores and everything. It's a little bit chilly out there, and as we go into the fall, we're going to see chillier and colder temperatures, and people better learn how to take care of their dogs outside, right?
Exactly. Yep. In fact, this morning when I got here, because I get here between 6:30 and 7, I had 3 boxer puppies in the drop box.
Oh, my.
So, I mean, and it was cold. It was only 40-something. I mean, the upside to that is we put blankets and stuff in there with them. But, you know, my point being, if you have puppies, please wait till we're open. I don't want them out there because I've had them die out there from the cold.
Yes.
I'm not saying I won't take them. I would just prefer that we be here so we can put them in a safe place.
You know, let me ask you this. Do you find, Deb, that people that would just drop them off, whether it's your drop box over at the shelter or anywhere. It takes a kind of a rare person that's cold-hearted to do what they do sometimes, is it not?
I would think so, because to me, and I know you guys are the same way, it's like giving up your kid.
Oh, my, yes.
I mean, really. Here, take my child. Well, hello, no.
Yeah, what you just said is 100% the truth. Yeah, when we got Festus, our little corgi pup, I mean, little did we know when we got him that he would own the place and we just pay him rent.
That's right. That's exactly what they're for. Like, okay, whatever you need. It's like when my sister took her Roddy to obedience school, he flunked school, and I said, that's weird, because she does everything he wants her to. She was trained really, really well.
Hey, that brings up a good question. I think you'll probably have the answer. Is any time too late to start a dog on obedience, whether it means a simple come here when I call you or whatever, or lay down, sit, roll over? I mean, are dogs at a certain age, it's beyond hope?
No. We have older dogs here that you have to just work with them and make it a straight, everyday routine.
I see.
Repetition, repetition, repetition. And they learn.
I see.
I mean, of course, it's easier to start them as puppies, but they're not, even when they're older, they're not stupid. Dogs are very smart animals.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a matter of repetition.
Well, Festus has got us wrapped around his paw.
You know, when they get your number, you're in trouble.
How true that is. Let me ask you this question. What are we going to feature this week? Last week we had some excellent dogs, and you just mentioned that you had some little baby boxer puppies. Do you want to talk about them, or what do you want to feature?
I've got two left. They're white with one's got tan and one's got black.
Oh my.
They're about 8 to 10 weeks old. Of course, they're going to have their first vaccination. They're not going to be tiny dogs, but they're sure pretty and very, very loving. They're just a fun bunch.
Okay.
And then today I also got 2 pups that were born here. It's the only 2 out of 10 that we have left. The mother laid on most of them.
Oh, my.
And we were blessed enough to have a lady from Hebron come and bottle feed them and raise them. They are German Shepherd crosses, and they are fat and cute, and yeah,
what do you,
guys are going to be wonderful.
Deb, what do you think the cross is with the German Shepherd?
I think it might be Roddy.
I see. So are they going to be...
The little male is black and tan. He definitely looks like a German Shepherd.
Uh-huh.
And the little girl has white on her, but they're both got the fuzzy hair, and they're just cute and all get out. And the upside to this is, because she has them, they are already started to be kennel trained, which means when you put them in the kennel, they don't go potty. You take them outside and they'll go.
Oh, my goodness.
So we've got to jump on that potty training thing.
Absolutely. So you got some boxer pups that are really cute and some German Shepherd cross puppies. What about anything else you want to mention this morning?
Well, I have, if anybody's looking for, and I don't think he's a working dog, I have an Anatolian Australian Shepherd cross.
A what?
Anatolian Shepherd.
What's that?
They're the dark brown dogs that you see out with the sheep sometimes.
Oh.
They're herding dogs, and they're big like the Great Pyrenees.
Okay.
But they're their activity level is like 2 out of 5.
I see. So
and his name is Kai, and he is, without a doubt, for a big dog, very, very good. He's great on a leash. He's house trained.
Oh, my.
He gets along with other dogs. I just need him in a home.
You know, now, maybe I'm wrong on this, but a lot of people always think that little dogs for inside the house. But you take a senior that's living alone in the house and they're worried about their environment, they're worried about their protection. That dog sounds like it would be a perfect dog for a senior inside the house.
Yeah, because he's going to protect you. And that's what, a lot of people I have that call me, honestly, are looking for a companion dog or something that will let them know when there's people at their house that they don't want there. And that's the kind of dogs you want. You want a protector.
Absolutely.
And these kind of dogs, that's what they do. That's what they're for, is protection.
Well, you've given us 3 examples, and I can hear somebody whining in the background. Which puppy is that?
Oh, it's the owner brought her in to get her last shots. It's one of the little females from the cattle dogs that we had.
I see. One question I was going to ask you, Deb.
Might be an Indian.
Let me ask you this question.
The doctor's office, you know what I mean?
No, I do. Let me ask you this question in regards to the maintenance and upkeep of these dogs, regardless of whether they're puppies or whether they're older dogs. What kind of recommendations do you make on dog food? And that question came in a week ago after the program, and some people wanted me to talk to you about that. What is a good dog food and what's a bad dog food? I mean, what's a filler or what is really good protein?
Probably the highest protein that you're going to get is blue buffalo. However, let me just say this. A lot of dogs can't stand that much protein right off the bat. It'll make them sick.
Oh.
If you've got a working dog that's constantly working and busy, you want a high-end protein. If they're an inside dog and they're just a pet, you want a lower protein.
Okay.
So here we mix high and low protein to get kind of a medium and not upset their stomachs. I had a vet tell me once that you don't necessarily need to buy the most expensive stuff on the block. Purina is a very good dog food. I have one dog food that is not honest and truly worth having, and I don't know if I dare say that on the radio, but we do have one that I wouldn't feed. But most dog foods are really good for the dogs. Just watch the protein level.
Okay.
Because they will get sick if you throw them high protein and they're not burning it off.
What about some of the other ingredients, though, Deb, as far as feeding your dog? I mean, some say they've got this, some say they've got fish and chicken and all that other stuff. How do you know? How do you discern what really will give your dog that good coat and they'll be filled up when they eat it?
Well, here we watch, because we've got dogs that have come in here that cannot handle grains.
I see.
And they will start scratching and start losing their hair. So that's one thing you want to watch for, is to make sure they're not digging at themselves.
Okay.
Most dog food, like I said, there's only really one that I wouldn't feed. But most of the dog foods have been blended enough that they will help the coats and everything else. But watch it, because sometimes your dog can't handle that particular food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like, you can be allergic to something too.
Yep. We have a caller with a question.
People need to understand, animals are just like we are.
Absolutely.
The same thing we get.
Absolutely. We've got a caller with a question for you, Deb. Go ahead, caller. Please, you're on the air. Please.
Yeah, Zeb and this Ross. But anyway, we've got 3 golden retrievers, and the problem we have is...
Turn off your radio, Ross.
Yeah, turn off your radio, please. Thank you.
The problem we have is you have to look at the ingredients. If it has a red dye in it, it is very toxic to these dogs. So always look at the ingredients, and if it has a red dye, it is very toxic to these dogs. For some reason, I don't know. But always look at your ingredients, Nat, and see if it's got red dye. I'll let you go.
Hey, thank you for that call. Deb, respond to him over the air, please.
Okay, and he's right. Some of the dyes are, that's why I said you've got to watch the dogs. Unfortunately, a lot of our dog foods are coming with the red dye. Not everybody has an issue with it, but some of them do. And honestly, you can't tell until you feed it. And that's why I kind of stick with the brown kibble for my personal dogs.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I want to review quickly before I go to the weather forecast. You've got, help me on the numbers, 2 boxer puppies left, and you have 2 German Shepherd cross puppies left, and then you have the bigger dog, Kai. Is that correct?
Yes, that's our Anatolian Australian Shepherd.
Okay. And give us the number and the times that people can arrange to come over and see these dogs.
It's 208-438-2200. And we are here from 8 to 1, Monday through Friday, and 8 to noon on Saturdays.
Deb, I appreciate you being on the air. Great job, and I can just feature those little boxer puppies. They probably look like a little ball of lard laying there, don't they?
They do.
Okay.
The guy that just took the first one home, I went, oh, I hope you own a feedlot. He just started laughing.
Okay. Deb Hines over at Minidoka Animal Control. God bless you, and thanks so much for being on the program this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I tell you, that lady just absolutely loves her job and working with those dogs. So if you're interested, please get a hold of her. Let's give those dogs, those puppies, a real nice home, please. Oh, boy, let's see what else have we got. Oh, I got to get to the weather forecast. Holy moly. And by the way, Sean, if you're looking at your clock, holy smokes, I did it for the first time in months. I'm on time for the weather. The weather is brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Why, this is a shock to my system. And there's two. Scarrows Meats, Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my goodness, with all the delicious meats. I mean, we're talking all the hams, and and we got to start thinking about hams and all that kind of thing, turkeys and everything coming up for Thanksgiving right around the corner, and all the tri-tips and the sausages and the different flavored bacon. Oh, my goodness, it's delicious. Scarrows Meats, 324-7657. Give them a call or go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. You betcha. Don't forget, for the best and tastiest of meats, it's Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Smoke is clearing out. There is some harvest dust in the air and mild temperatures for this week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies for today with a little bit of a breeze. We are expecting a high of 68. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 38 tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies, high of 77, a light breeze out of the east. Tuesday night, clear skies with a low of 43. Sunny and 78 for Wednesday, pretty much the same for Thursday and Friday. That's a look at your weather for 7-3.
Thank you very much, Gina. Appreciate it. And the weather brought to you by Don Scarrow and the whole crew over at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don't forget the number, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. I've got a little bit of time, and I'd love to hear from you, so give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear what happened to Joe Montana and his wife? This is unbelievable. In broad daylight, somebody, and I don't have all the particulars, I was just given this short news story earlier this morning, some woman just literally walked in the door of their home and went right to where the 9-month-old grandchild was staying over the weekend, and went to the crib and was going to take the child and leave the house. A kidnapper in broad daylight. Former Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Montana and his wife, they confronted the home intruder, and after a little tussle and tangle and everything, safely got the grandchild back with the grandparents, and I believe the intruder was arrested. But my goodness, broad daylight, just walk into somebody's home. They must have had some kind of lay of the land or some kind of information as to where this baby was, and just walked up, grabbed the baby up, and tried to escape with the child. Kidnapping. Wow. I mean, you're not safe anywhere, anytime, and you got to leave your doors locked all the time. Unbelievable. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. That leads me to another letter, a very small letter, that was in the Times News a couple of days ago. And I'll just read it to you because it shows a lack of common sense. We should take all the people that attend a Trump rally and lock them in the arena until we can be sure they are all COVID-free. P.S. Whoever stole my Biden sign for president can send me $25. Speaking of that, I got to say this. On Center Street in Kimberly, there are some nice homes along Center Street in Kimberly, and there's some nice lawns and everything else. There is one that absolutely is not nice and well kept at all. And it's loaded with signs against President Trump and promoting Joe Biden and promoting Black Lives Matter and promoting the LGBT. I guess everybody's got a right to promote what they want on their own property and everything, but oh my goodness, you talk about it doesn't sell well when you can't keep your property up and it looks like a total junk heap. And then here is the letter saying lock up all these people that attend a Trump rally. Did you ever think, Paul Guyman in Twin Falls, that maybe we should be locking up the rioters that are burning and looting and running free and hitting people with baseball bats or worse with guns? Think about that, Paul, before you think about just locking up all of us that attend Trump rallies. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What did you think about that story that was in the news a week ago about people that were arrested in Moscow, Idaho, for a church service that was held outside? Outside is the key word, and they were singing. And because some of them did not have a mask on, they were arrested. 3 people were arrested at this church sing-along, if you will, the Christ Church up in Moscow. And what they were doing is they were outside in the fresh air, and basically they were criticizing this mask all the time law or mandate. And they said no. And the pastor said, we wanted to make a statement. We're ready to head back to normal. Amen. 5 people were issued citations for violating the city's mask and social distancing order, and 2 of them were also arrested on suspicion of resisting and obstructing an officer at a church service. And most of the people ignored the colorful circles that city workers had painted in the parking lot to indicate where people could stand to maintain social distance. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Church service, you can say, I know there was a service in California that the governor said, no more singing, because when you sing and you try to really put forth your voice, you might put some propellants into the air that are not sanitary, and they might be the COVID virus. Oh, come on. This is getting ridiculous. Your thoughts, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587.
Mind if I comment?
No, I guess, how am I going to say no because you already turned your mic on?
Well, me and Gina went to the University of Idaho. We grew up there. And Moscow is highly liberalized because of the college.
Yep.
So I'm not really surprised that they're doing that up there.
I am surprised, though, the government thinks that they can make regulations and dictates to church services, because really, go back to our Constitution and the amendments, and it's not legal. It's not legal at all. But people are kowtowing to them, and unfortunately, government officials are winning. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Great big shout-out to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I really appreciate everything they do. They've been so easy to work with over the many, many, many years that they've been on my show, all 7 locations, and they all provide the best in service for you on your tires. They've got all all the sizes, all the tread designs. And whether it's your brake service, they've got highly trained brake personnel that really know their stuff. Front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. And again, I stress, it's getting colder. So make sure your battery can stand the challenge. If not, they've got the best in batteries at all 7 locations. You stop in, service is the key word. It's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family over in Paul, really nice people, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. All 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. There was, I got to tell you this real quick. There was a horse sale on television the other day. It was on Saturday, and it was called the Best of Texas Horse Sale. Listen to this. They had a common, kind of ordinary, big old buckskin, high-headed horse go through the ring. They rode it, and everything else. $27,000. And then they had a red roan 5-year-old that went through the ring, and they rode it. Little kid got on it and rode it. Nice looking horse. And the bidding went up and up and up. Hold on to your Tony Llamas. That 5-year-old red roan went for $130,000. So for those of us in the horse world and we're thinking about buying replacements for what we do, you better have a friendly banker. Holy smokes, the cost has gone up. We're going to be back tomorrow morning at 8:06. Do this all over again. Day number 2 for the week on Tuesday. Again, I want to mention we got Dan Kish, and I can't wait to get him on and talk about some of the energy things that are going to be coming up in that debate tomorrow night with Trump and Biden. Great interview with Dr. Gerard Lamero. He always is the political analyst to listen to. And then, of course, right here in my studio will be Dr. History at 10:06. All of this and more on Zeb at the Ranch for tomorrow. And we always end the program by saying the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the 4 words that mean the most to me, in God we trust. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. Until then, you have a safe, sane day. God bless.